All right, let's talk Philadelphia Eagles. Big game this week against the Cowboys in Dallas. They've got a 4-game winning streak. They're the number 1 seed in the NFC. They've beaten some really good teams in back-to-back weeks. But there's all this drama off the field as well. Do you want to start on the field or do you want to start off?
I'll start off the field because, go ahead. Start off the field.
Off the field?
Yeah,
okay.
Hit me with what you got.
Okay, so can a team...
I'll tell you what's real and what's not real.
Can a team that appears this dysfunctional win it all?
Yes, because the Jackson 5 put out great music too. I mean, the Eagles have done this thing for so long. A.J. Brown has been one of these guys that people would earmark as a distraction for very long. Jalen Hurts, for whatever reason, is like being run out of town by the media in Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. Don't you understand that he outplayed Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl? Don't you realize he's almost won 2 Super Bowls there in Philly? Don't you realize that, Jalen Hurts is a great player. The record of the Philadelphia Eagles indicates to me that the issues aren't that huge in Philadelphia, and it's only relative to the success that they had last year offensively that people are having all these issues. But they beat the hell out of football teams. They play trench warfare style at the line of scrimmage. They bludgeon offensive lines, and they've got more rushers now than they have in the last couple of years. It's a scary sight to think about playing the Philadelphia Eagles. While I understand you want to score 40 points a game, the opponent scoring 6 and you scoring 13 works too.
Do you think that what's going on with A.J. Brown and all that, do you think that that is a detriment to this team, or that they're somehow using that as motivation or fuel to the fire and maybe they eventually get better because of it?
I think it's just one of those things in a family dynamic where you can just compartmentalize and ignore. I mean, you know that A.J. Brown's going to go out there and do his job, but with that, you're going to have a little bit of a squeaky wheel effect. But there's some guys, it's the hot crazy chart. You've seen the hot crazy chart. If you're a 10 on the hot scale, you can go 8 on the crazy scale. But if you drop down to an 8 on the hot scale, you got to bring the crazy down to 6.
But there's also that F around and find out scale that I think is on the
But A.J. Brown's got a little bit of that too. My point is this. Look, I trust this group. I trust the players on the field for the Philadelphia Eagles. The issue I have, the concern I have, is Lane Johnson out of this lineup again for this Philadelphia Eagles team. And he frees up so much for Kevin Patullo, for Jalen Hurts, for Saquon Barkley, for all those players, one-on-one in pass protection, dominant in run block, being able to displace defensive linemen. When you don't have a guy like Lane Johnson in there, you have to allocate resources from elsewhere at the line of scrimmage, and that's not a good formula.
We've seen teams like the Chargers lose multiple really good offensive linemen, and clearly that has had an impact on them. How can one single offensive lineman going out affect a team?
Well, like I was saying, Lane Johnson is a mute button. So if you're designing a protection package for the Philadelphia Eagles, you can put your hand over the right tackle and the left defensive end and say, okay, they're not part of it. So let's figure out how to block 4 with these 4. Now with Fred in there at right tackle, there's going to be some matchups that aren't advantageous to Fred, and they're going to have to kick the right guard over there to help keep on the inside hip pocket of the tackle. So as a guard, there were some tackles that I didn't even have to look at. I just knew they were going to get their job done. I could just forget about them, and I'd shake their hand after 4 quarters and say, hey, great job, buddy. And then there's some tackles where it's like, I have to block my guy with my hands, but I'm also watching that defensive end because maybe it's a little bit of a liability. I'm not saying Fred's a liability. What I'm saying is he ain't Lane Johnson. Right. And schematically, they're going to have to get creative to find ways to get guys blocked up.
Well, hopefully he can come back before the end of the season.
Said 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks?
Yeah, 4 to 6 at this point is what it's looking like. Now, the tush-push didn't work in the fourth quarter this past week. 0 for 3.
Yeah, it felt like a huge win there for the National Football League.
Yeah,
right?
Are teams starting to figure this out? Where are we at?
You can figure out how to not get knocked out on an uppercut, but, I wouldn't want to do it twice in a row, you know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I feel like this is one of those things where if you continue to swing your axe, and the axe is the tush-push for the Philadelphia Eagles, the tree will fall. I feel like you and I understand that. Yeah, you might get lucky a couple times, but overall, they still have a tremendous amount of confidence in that tush-push.
We talk a lot about the dysfunction with Brown on the outside. Jalen Hurts gets a lot of flack. But Saquon Barkley, he was averaging 125 rushing yards per game last season. This season down to 66. What's to blame for that other than maybe not giving him the ball as much as they gave him last season?
Well, it's The combination of not leaning on Saquon Barkley as much as they were last year, and the fact that the Johnnies and the Joes up front have not been consistently the same guys. Like I talked about Lane Johnson being in and out of the lineup. Landon Dickerson from the entry of camp has had issues physically. Mailata picked up his play as the season went along. This team, they had a very long season last year. They had a very long season 2 years ago. It might take them a little bit to get rolling, but look at the record right now. Mm-hmm. Look at the way that defense is playing, and you and I have both seen this Eagles offense have success in the postseason. So I'm not really tripping about it, but at the end of the day, the Saquon production is a little bit concerning, and it's because of that offensive line.
Well, let's go to the defense, though, because that's where they're winning games right now. They've allowed 16 total points in the last 2 games against the Packers and against the Lions. 2 offenses that are supposed to be among the best in the league. How has this defense gotten so dominant?
Well, they have really good players on the back end, and they've got really good players on the front side. And I think that with Vic Fangio understanding when to press the buttons and when not to press the buttons, winning with 4 is the formula for success in the National Football League. You take a look around some of the great defenses, they all have good defensive fronts, okay? They can beat the offensive line with those 4 guys, and sometimes 3, which is a rarity, but it can happen. And that's what the Eagles have. They have ass kickers at the line of scrimmage. Jalen Carter, when he decides to go, good luck blocking him. Jordan Davis, the same kind of thing with him. He is so big, so physical. If those guys bring it every play, they can be the most dominant defensive front. Now you add in Jalen Phillips to that crew. Vic Fangio's had him before. He knows what to do with him, what he does well. This defense is seemingly the best in the National Football League, and they are peaking right now.
That's a good point you made about the 4, when you only have to send 4. I mean, they have the lowest
and
blitz
you
rate
have good guys on the back end. So it's 4, and then the 7 guys on the back end are pretty darn good.
And those 4 guys are pressuring quarterbacks. They're pressuring quarterbacks 44% of the time. That's the 3rd highest pressure rate in the league. But for this game, against a Cowboys offense that's operating like it is, how do you see that matchup going?
They have to win their matchups up front. And I know Dak Prescott's a tough guy, consummate professional. We've seen him make incredible throws week in, week out. But the key to stopping these great quarterbacks is to get them on the ground, do it again, do it again, do it again. And eventually their eye level, as Pete has talked about before, goes from 2nd and 3rd level down the field to the rush. And when that happens, the sky starts to fall for an offense.
Interesting matchup with the Cowboys trying to stay in the playoff race. If they lose this game, they might be in trouble. If they win it, though, look out. Dallas offensively can score with the best of them, and they'll try to do it against maybe the best defense in the NFL this weekend.